think is gonna be called up this year, or I guess next year in 2026. We have 8 people listed out here. We're gonna give you a couple reasons why we think they will be called up, maybe a couple why we don't think they'll be called up. But yeah, I'll let you kick it off with number 1 here.
Yeah, and the number one, kind of, I think, the more easy layups you have for a call, and that's going to be Oba Femi, a man who has dominated NXT over the past 2 years, really, which is kind of crazy to think about how much he's been there, but also in how much time, how much he's been able to do in the time he has been there, winning the North American champion, winning the world champion, and yeah, he's kind of going back right now to NXT, so who knows how soon we'll see that call up, but I think by the end of 2026, Oba Femi will be on a main roster.
Yeah, he's obviously good enough in ring recently. Obviously, Ricky Saints, when he came up, he was known as a guy who cut really good promos and things of that nature. But Oba Femi has been absolutely cooking him. He's able to keep up on the mic with everyone, at least on the NXT level. So yeah, he's definitely ready for that NXT call up. So yeah, we'll be seeing Oba Femi real soon, I'm pretty sure. But moving on to number 2 on our list is going to be Jordynne Grace, just one of the big women powerhouses of the WWE, obviously coming in from TNA. But what is your thoughts on Jordynne Grace at number 2?
Yeah, I mean, she's somebody who I think she will eventually win some type of gold before she gets called up. But I'm also be surprised if she does just eventually get called up without winning any type of gold. She is very dominant. We've seen that before in TNA. Since joining WWE, she's had a lot of big moments and a lot of big matches. Unfortunately, is usually on the losing side, but she always makes that up in a next match. So yeah, I think eventually once she wins gold, she'll probably be on her way out very shortly after that. So yeah. I think Jordynne's another layup, and is somebody who I think could very much be needed on the SmackDown side on the women's roster. So yeah, I think a Jordynne Grace call up would do wonders not only for her but also the roster.
Yeah, she's such like a dominant force, and kind of when you look at her, you could tell she's just stronger than her opponent. That she could lose as much as she wants and kind of bounce back from that at any moment. At least I feel like. But number 3 on our list is going to be someone that's kind of the opposite of Jordynne Grace. And he's just someone with a very high personality. People love his entrance music. They love singing along with it. Whoop that Trick. I'm talking about Trick Williams at number 3.
Yeah, he is somebody who made himself his own star, you know, obviously being kind of Carmelo's manager for quite a while, but then eventually once Carmelo got called up and on the verge of him getting called up, we've seen the rise of Trick Williams, and we really seen it when he eventually won that world champion. So yeah, Trick Williams I think has done everything you can do in NXT. He hasn't touched those tag team titles, so maybe we see him do that before he calls it quits in NXT, but he is somebody who I think is very much ready for the main roster. There's a lot of things you can do with him. You can have his match or team up with Carmelo Hayes once again, and yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff you can do with him, and like I said, he just kind of already did everything in NXT that has to be done.
Yeah, I mean, he's faced every single person on that roster, I'm pretty sure at least. He's won the NXT World Champion, he's won the North American Champion, he's won the TNA World Champion as well, so he's very accolade heavy in NXT world. So moving him up to the main roster and kind of reset him and kind of humble him once again and put him up there with the big dogs would be a very cool kind of story arc for him to go on. But number 4 on our list is going to be Jacy Jayne.
Yeah, she is somebody who has had an amazing 2025 after becoming the champion that is the most beatable champion, the luckiest champion that we've ever seen, who turned out to be one of the best champions we've had in recent memory, I think. And yeah, she's had an amazing year. I think she really changed a lot of people's minds on where her future lies in WWE. I think a lot of people at one point thought she was probably the worst of that Fatal Influence or Fatal Attraction group, but now I think there's an argument that she is, or I think there's no argument that she is just the best of that old group. So yeah, I think Jacy Jayne has improved a ton. She's very much deserving, and she's somebody who, now being a 2-time women's NXT champion, is probably on the verge of getting called up anytime now.
Yeah, I mean, she's kind of like Trick Williams in a way, where she's won all the accolades that you want her to do. She's went to TNA and done stuff there as well. She's won the TNA World Champion as well and was a double champion for quite some time. She was also the one who did dethrone Stephanie Vaquer earlier this year to become NXT champion in the first place. So she has defeated a long list of people, and yeah, her title reigns were always amazing. And this year, I mean, you could definitely make an argument for her being like a workhorse of the year, or like a most improved, or there's a lot of things, or accolades or whatever you could throw on Jacy Jayne's name for this year. But another person who really proved himself this year to people is Ethan Page at number 5.
Yeah, he is somebody, like you mentioned, who has really changed on what the overall opinion on him on the internet has been. He went from AEW to WWE and NXT, and has, like I said, completely changed what he looks like now. He has improved in almost every aspect, I think, of his game, and has really been able to showcase what he is able to bring to the table. And yeah, he's just been put in great opportunities and has made the most of pretty much everything he's been given. So yeah, he's a workhorse. He's a guy who I think will probably spend the rest of his time now in WWE, probably for the rest of his career. He's somebody who I think fits the mold of WWE. So yeah, Ethan Page I think is a guy who eventually could probably be in that WrestleMania, maybe main event tier. Who knows where he'll go, but I think the potential is limitless for Ethan Page. And yeah, he's had an amazing year, and I hope he gets his flowers next year.
Yeah, he had a really good time earlier in NXT with his feud with Javon Evans, where he got Javon Evans' jaw wired. After, I forget exactly what happened, but they had a hardcore match, and that kind of feud went on for a pretty long time, and it was always really good. Then he did the stuff with Ricky Saints that was really good, and everything that he's done was just really good. And then he also, right now at the moment at least, he's doing this thing with Chelsea Green where they're the mixed tag team champions in AAA. He's kind of showing more of his comedy relief side a little bit, while also still kind of having that heelish kind of way in the background. So there's a lot of storylines for him going into the main roster with his kind of affiliation with Chelsea Green. And yeah, there's a ton of things that he could get into. But number 6, going back to the women's division here, we have Blake Monroe.
Yeah, she is somebody who is still pretty fresh on the NXT roster, but I think she has kind of shown what she will do in WWE. We've seen her character work now with this Sol Ruca storyline, and that's still brewing, and I think there's still a lot to go in that storyline. But yeah, I think she's somebody who is probably just buying time right now on the NXT roster until when she does get called up. She's somebody who I don't think I can see her not win the world champion and get it called up before that happens for her. But again, similar to what I said for Jordan earlier, if she wins the belt, I can see her leaving NXT very shortly after losing it. So yeah, Blake Monroe, we know what she's able to do, and hopefully she is able to showcase that on the main roster.
Yeah, she's going to be someone who's going to be on our Match of the Year contenders list for sure, with our Hollywood ending with Toni Storm as Mariah May, of course, in AEW. She also had a steel cage match with Jordynne Grace that was really good. The recent stuff with Sol Ruca and Zarya has been really good. So she's starting to kind of get into things. She started off a little bit slow in NXT maybe, but she definitely picked things up. She's getting more and more exciting as time goes on. But our next one is kind of someone who maybe you have forgotten about if you haven't really been keeping up with the NXT world on Twitter or whatever it is. We have Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah, kind of a little spoiler. We're recording this the night after Survivor Series, so there is potential, kind of the idea of he might be the man who is that master. So who knows where this will age when this video does come out. But yeah, it's something that I think would be really interesting. He's somebody who I think is very much missed, not only in NXT, but just I want to see him again, and I kind of hope that is on the main roster. He is a perfect person to be joining a group like the Vision. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities you can do for him, and yeah, I think he's very talented. He has all the aspects you want from a wrestler, and similar to Ethan Page, I think he can kind of cover all aspects that you want, like I said, from a wrestler.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool transition for him to go from obviously his NXT family and transition him to this kind of new Vision family that they're kind of forming. We don't exactly know, at least at the time of this video, exactly who's in it, because as you mentioned, this is the day after Survivor Series, so maybe Drew's full-time in it, maybe Brock's full-time in it, maybe Logan's full-time in it, so maybe that would make it a little bit harder for him to fit in that moment, but I don't necessarily think they will be permanent members, of course, and I think Tony D'Angelo fit right in any other way. But our final one of the video is someone who we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, and that is Fallon Henley. And yeah, she's obviously in the group with Fatal Influence and JC Jane and Lainey Reed. She's done a lot of good stuff. She's very, very good in rings. People underrate her, I feel like, as a single star. She's done tag team stuff. She's done TNA stuff. And she's been one of my favorite NXT people to watch. She's really great. She showed her face side. She showed her heel side. And yeah, she's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, she's somebody who, again, similar to JC, has a similar story where she kind of went from popular person on that NXT roster who we didn't know where she would fall in the later years, but this year I think has really turned with this heel turn and stuff like that with the faction, like you said, with JC. And yeah, I think there's a lot for her to do. She can play both the face and the heel role. I'd like to kind of see her in that face role again to kind of see how things may have changed, because originally I wasn't too much of a fan of her as a face, and I've become more of a fan of the heel stuff. So I hope to see her kind of go back and try to try that again. But yeah, she's somebody who's improved in the ring tremendously in my opinion. I think can put on some of the best matches of the night almost consistently now. So yeah, Fallon Henley I think has a bright future for her, and I think she's somebody who we can definitely see get caught up probably in the later half of next year, but could get caught up sooner rather than later as well.
Now, she's your current speed champion at the moment. So, yeah, good stuff to Fallon Henley. I'm sure she'll be called up. If not this year, it'll be very soon, nonetheless. But that is the final one of this video. You know, anyone outside of this video that you would potentially throw into this video if you could?
Yeah, I mean, there's people like Javon Evans who I think it would be amazing if he was to be able to get called up. Obviously, you probably want him to win that world champion, the North American champion before that happens, but I think I would love to see him be a very young world champion. We haven't had that in quite some time now. So yeah, I think that'd be a great pick. There's people like Joe Hendry who I think might be able to get called up just because he kind of doesn't fit that age range of the NXT roster. But, you know, I think he's somebody who could also be used on that main roster in probably a more valuable role. And yeah, I think there's a lot of people you could do. I think that's what's so great about NXT is that in reality you could call up a lot of people, but the difference from going from NXT to the main roster is probably really different for a lot of these people. And considering a lot of these people are brand new to wrestling, you probably don't want to throw them to the deep end this quick. So I don't mind people getting held back for a little bit longer.
Yeah, we went through this whole video without even mentioning the name Sol Ruka, who's also one of the most dominant women in NXT at the moment. She was a double champion, almost a triple champion at one point. Then an injury, at least the storyline kind of ruined it all a little bit. But yeah, that is going to be our video. This is day 5 of our marathon. We're going to be uploading every single day of this month, so be sure to tune in tomorrow as well. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one.